Jonathan Sacerdoti is with us. He's a leading campaigner against anti-Semitism. Jonathan, good morning to you. Are you feeling a rise in anti-Semitism in the UK?
Good morning. Unfortunately, some of the statistics are showing that there is at least a rise in the reported instances of anti-Semitism occurring across the UK. And when I speak to people across the community, I do hear more and more of them concerned about this. That is to say that people have felt, I think, there's been a bit of a tipping point where certain kinds of anti-Semitism have become more acceptable and harder to challenge. That's why this report that's being published today is very important, because it's the first time really that we see anyone in authority really tackling the problem in a way that most Jewish people I speak to seem to feel it needs to be tackled. That is to say, there are certain key areas which many Jewish people who aren't trying to silence discussion of Israeli policy but are concerned about their own lives living in freedom, being Jewish in the UK, they want to see these sorts of things tackled robustly, whether it's in university campuses, whether it's online on Twitter, whether it's within political parties like the Labour Party. They just want to see the government and these other organisations taking seriously their concerns and protecting them, rather than what often happens, which is that they're accused of actually saying something's anti-Semitic, as some sort of method of manipulating and controlling other people's discussions of other issues, which in and of itself is actually an anti-Semitic accusation.
Jonathan, was it fair? It's delivered this rather damning verdict, the Home Affairs Select Committee report into anti-Semitism, on a report by the Labour peer, now Baroness Chakrabarti, saying her conclusions exonerating Labour in her investigation of anti-Semitism in the party were clearly lacking, and saying her decision to take a peerage from Corbyn had completely undermined her report. Do you see it that way?
I do see it that way, and many of us have been saying that since Baroness Chakrabarti published that report. I mean, just reading it when it was published, it really looked like something of the calibre of a sixth form politics essay, not an independent inquiry into anti-Semitism within the opposition party, the Labour Party. It has to be said that her reluctance to use a clear definition of anti-Semitism, which is one of the fundamental issues in discussion of this topic, was absurd. And then her inability or reluctance to deal with any specific cases, such as those of Gerald Kaufman MP within the Labour Party, who had said that Jewish money controlled British foreign policy because of donations to the Conservative Party, or Ken Livingstone specifically, who we all know said that before Hitler went mad and killed 6 million Jews, he supported Zionism, and many other examples of anti-Semitism within the party. These weren't dealt with properly by Shami Chakrabarti in her report. She simply referred to some of the anti-Semitic instances as unhappy occurrences or something similar to that. This was not somebody taking on the subject seriously. And then, when she was awarded this peerage, then elevated to the position in the shadow cabinet of Shadow Attorney General, well, this just sent a very peculiar message, not just to Jewish people, but to the whole country. It really looked like, certainly, there was some sort of transactional nature to these agreements, even though Corbyn and Chakrabarti have denied it.
Well, I'll get people's views on their perception of that. Jonathan, for the moment, thank you very much indeed.